there's an angry mob coming for you.
We didn't do it. That's what they all say.
Yeah, you do look pretty suspicious. You're coming off like a very, very fresh murder scene. Also, you're vampires, not that the angry mob knows that, but...
Right.
My notes for this say, angry mob is walking towards you, leaving crime scene, and seems angry.
I just put angry mob with an exclamation mark.
I can't imagine why they seem angry.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
How do you want to handle this? By this, I mean the angry mob. Coming toward you as you are leaving a crime scene. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, they explicitly mentioned that half of them have AR-15s. So there's that.
Oh my god!
Did I forget to mention that last week?
You did!
Yes, you did!
Yeah, half of them have AR-15s, so...
Okay, so they're armed. Shit.
There's a lot of AR-15s for a populace.
You know...
Yeah, right? For Jersey?
This is why I advocate for gun control.
Right.
This exact scenario.
Just, if an angry mob comes after you, you don't want them to be armed with AR-15s.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's not great. Not an ideal situation.
They are quite a distance from you, because you did have that forewarning. Paul had his vision, and the cats warned you, so you've got a ways before they get to you. You've got a little bit of time to think and breathe, but not infinite time.
Yeah, the only thing that I can do is fucking book it, because I'm fast, but that's all.
Booking it may not be the worst solution.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want Juana doing anything, because it's just going to be a fight, and that's not good.
No, yeah.
I have too much hunger to do that right now.
That's all I got, is being fast.
I feel like we have
the two things that she's good at, being pretty, being fast.
I think we've established that Paul is not a strong person. So.
Right. So we should probably, leave.
Run. Let's run.
Yeah.
So you want to run.
What's around the area?
You are standing just on the curb. You've got it's not that far from a big intersection, but of course it's 4 o'clock in the morning, so there's not a whole lot of traffic. Lots of alleyways you could dart down, because they are looking straight at you, and if you suddenly bolt, they seem like the types that are going to pursue you.
I was looking for things to climb, specifically.
Charles has an ability where he can jump, I think, up to 3 meters.
Oh, that thing!
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Soaring leap. Up to 3 times his potence level vertically, and his potence level is 1, so he can leap 3 meters in the air, which is pretty badass. Yeah, Paul's kind of a badass. Which I say with great reluctance, because he's also a huge douchebag. Okay.
So he can climb and carry us
jump.
up. I don't know where this is going.
No, he can just leave. He can just jump onto like a roof or some shit like that.
Yeah, because if there's anything that I could climb, I could also do that. I could either run or climb shit. Like ledges or wires, but it has to be enough to support my balance.
Running across a wire to get away from folks. This sounds hilarious and not at all like it'll break the masquerade.
Right.
I feel like Charles says, "Okay." As you're all staring at this group of AR-15 wielding people as they're coming toward you.
Right.
How about we split up and we meet back up at Sam's place?
Sounds good. Let's do that thing.
All right, see y'all later. And he is going to use a soaring leap and jump 3 vertical meters onto the roof.
Oh my god. Hey, I can't remember. Was there a window in the apartment?
Yeah, there's a window. There's a couple windows.
Were we on a second story or something? I can't remember where.
You were on the 3rd floor, but the crime scene was on the 3rd floor, but you guys are currently on the ground floor because mob.
So in theory, I could run back inside and just pick a window to jump out of.
God damn it.
I mean, you could. That doesn't seem like a great idea, but it is certainly a thing you could physically do, yes.
I feel because if I pick one that's in a random direction, they're not going to know where I went.
Sure. Logical.
I love
in a Malkavian fashion.
You and I had the exact same thought, Amber.
So, to be clear, you're going to go back into the crime scene, lure them up after you.
No. I'm not going back into the crime scene. I'm going back into the building. I'm picking a random door, and I am going to go in, go through the window, and just disappear the fuck out the other. That way it's like they're not seeing where I'm going.
But the crime scene is the building, so you are going back.
Briefly.
Alright, I mean, that counts as a random direction, I guess.
Alright, well, I'm gonna do fleetness, but I need to. That's why I asked about a rouse check. I can just fucking bolt it.
Does fleetness require a rouse check?
Yes, it does.
I mean, if that's, I feel like this is if you want to do something particularly fancy, like I would have rolled for Paul, but his soaring leap is free, so he doesn't have to roll anything for that. If you want to do something particularly fancy, then you're gonna have to roll, but, if you want to, like, they are definitely seeing you, and there's a chance that some of them are gonna follow you. So Vampire the Masquerade doesn't have, like, initiative orders like Dungeons and Dragons does. Yeah. I'm literally supposed to go around the table, or in this case, around, like, I don't know, alphabetically, I guess, and say, okay, so this is what's happening, what do each of you do, and then any rolls you make after it's all declared and decided.
Because the only other thing I could do is awe or cat's grace, but yeah, they're like looking at me. I could just suddenly climb something, but I don't know if there's any ledges or wires.
It's like a regular city street. Like, yeah, there's plenty of stuff to climb if you want to really get away from them.
Okay, yeah, I'll just run to another building, a different building.
And jump onto the wall and climb up the wall? You said it gives you advantages on anything with dexterity?
Add celerity rating to dice pool for non-combat dex tests.
So yeah, that counts. Like, if you wanted to climb directly up a wall, which is not out of the purview of a vampire. Does that does fleetness require a rouse check, or is it
Yes,
free?
it does, but the cat's grace is free. But that's the legend. Yeah, so I'm going to do fleetness and just climb directly up a wall then.
Okay.
To get out of there.
So go ahead and V1 to see if you add a hunger. That's a success. So you do not add a hunger. And so go ahead, and now you make a check. Let's say this is dexterity plus, I guess, athletics maybe? Yeah, let's go with athletics. Dexterity plus athletics plus fleetness. Ooh, wow. So yeah, like a fucking cat, you just, or actually more like a spider, you fucking, you dart across the street and straight up climb up the building. Juana, what do you want to do?
I am skittering away like a cat.
Down a dark
Not
alley.
on all fours.
I mean, I feel like that's like very Juana. Like Paul, he darts into the building and he leaps out a window, and Eileen climbs up a wall, and Charles leaps 3 meters vertically onto the roof, and Juana's like, and just leaves.
Just raises her hackles and hisses.
That's on brand. That is on brand for Juana.
Yep.
Okay, so the only one, like, they watch you all scatter in various directions. The only one that they can pursue, theoretically, is Juana. So I guess a couple of them are going to break off and try to follow you. So this is going to be a contest, I believe it is.
Okay.
It would be, Juana's got this in the bag. I'm looking at your stat sheet. Like, she's got 3 dexterity, 2 athletics, 2 survival, like... So let's have you put dexterity and stealth versus their wits and awareness, I guess. So yeah, they pursue you for a little while. They're on your tail for a little bit, but then, you're basically a feral animal, and they lose track of you pretty quickly. So you all go your separate ways, and you agreed to meet back up at Sam Stokes's place. Mm-hmm. Which is good because it's almost dawn, and you don't want to be outside in the city. But Sam is the prince of this particular neighborhood, and she has, like, the one really nice house in the entire neighborhood. And, no one's really sure how she got it or, where the money came from, but it's like it's a really, really nice brownstone near the downtown area. And you all meet back up, and there is a special entrance for vampires on the roof. That's only accessible if you know how to climb 12 feet vertically. Yeah. Which most of you do, So yeah, there's a little door that you can go in, and you go inside, and so yes, do you want to talk to Sam? She's not going to immediately seek you out, or I don't know, maybe she would.
I mean, we're gonna feel like we have to crash here today, so...
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to tell her what's up. Hey, angry mob, FYI.
Yeah, she almost certainly has, like, put you guys up in the past, so it's not a big ask for her. Like, you owe her a boon, and she takes care of you. Not the worst person in the world to owe a boon to. Sam is, she's quite affable, very forgiving. So you want to talk to her?
I vote yes.
I think that's fair. Might as well update her on the situation.
Yeah.
She did set you on this quest, so... So she has a little office on the very, there are 4 floors on this old brownstone, and her office is at the very top. You knock, of course, because, you have to knock. She's your boss, basically. But you hear her say, come in. You pull up at the door. Sam Stokes, I never really got the opportunity to describe her, and it doesn't really physically describe any of the characters. I've just basically been making up descriptions of all the characters and NPCs. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna say Sam is a, when she was turned, she was like late 30s, sort of a no-nonsense black woman with very good fashion sense. When you open the door, she says, there you are. You've been gone all night. And she kind of gestures you inside.
Take a seat.
Hi, Sam.
We walk it.
She says, all right, so this is either good news or bad news, if you guys are actually coming to my office.
How do we classify a mob again?
Bad news. That's bad news.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially armed. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Bad news, then.
Armed mobs? God, why?
Bad news.
Good question.
I think we have a mole.
What?
Charles says, you would think that, Paul. He's like, it's not a mole situation. I think it's just, it's been 3 murders now, and the populace is getting ready to take things into their own hands, which is...
I mean, y'all can discount my mole theory, but I was right about the mob coming, so just think about that, okay?
You also went back to the crime scene and jumped out a window.
I'm here.
That's unfortunate, but true.
That's unfortunate for us that you're still here.
She's like, unfortunately for us, yes, you are still here.
You say that, but next time I have a premonition, I'm just going to leave out conveniently the part that involves you.
She says, okay, so there's been another murder, first of all, which, and she's like, this asshole is really getting brazen. And this angry mob, this wouldn't have anything to do with it. She reaches out and she has a police scanner sitting on her desk. It's always been there. She uses it constantly because even though the police are ostensibly in charge, really it's Sam. Sam is the sheriff in these parts. She says, so it definitely has everything to do with the 3rd body they found and not anything to do with the morgue attendant who woke up and called the police because some strange skinny gay boy had strangled her in her own place of employment. Doesn't have anything to do with that.
I'm not that skinny.
It has nothing to do with that, does it, Paul? I'm not sure.
I would say probably not. I'm getting a premonition. It was not me.
Sam has that, like, she steeples her fingers and she's like, Paul, I know we've talked about this in the past, but do you remember how we're not supposed to tell mortals that we exist?
Yes, part I have doubt.
We're not supposed to let on any clues to our existence?
I would like to point out that I did not tell the mortal that I existed, so I don't know what the problem is.
No, you just choked her out at under 5 seconds, and then broke into a morgue and didn't take anything. Paul...
Should I have taken something?
At least then it would have looked like a robbery.
Paul takes out a notebook and starts writing down notes.
The point of the masquerade is to make sure they know that vampires don't exist. If you
Next
had choked,
time you break into a house, take things.
I mean, y'all are laughing, but it's not a bad strategy. At least the police will think it was a robbery and not, a vampire trying to get information about a murder by another vampire, probably.
Might be immortal, actually.
Mortal.
Yeah.
Maybe. We're not sure.
Possibly. We found something at the 3rd murder site?
You sure did. And actually it really takes away any doubt because the murderer had been following the 3rd victim for a while and had been staying, clearly because there was like a sleeping bag, in a non-sunproofed room. And there's absolutely no way a vampire could do that.
Yep.
And Sam's like, well, fuck. I guess strictly speaking, it's better than a vampire doing it, but we still need to get rid of them. We don't want them drawing attention to the actual predators of the night.
Yep.
And she says, you guys look hungry. Are you hungry?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Charles is like, I'm fine too. Because he literally does, there's like...
I'll have theirs.
She says there's a blood doll down in the basement. It's the same one as usual. You guys know what a blood doll is. It's sort of a pejorative term for a mortal who knows about the existence of vampires and also gets more pleasure than should be socially acceptable or legally allowed out of being bitten by a vampire. They put themselves up for it willingly because they like it, and some vampires are kind of weirded out by that, but mostly they're just thankful for a free snack. But I mean, in fairness, canonically, it's called the kiss, but it means the bite. The bite of a vampire they describe it as like a near sexual ecstasy that it induces in mortal targets.
Oh, there you go. They get off on it.
Just imagine eating your burger.
And your burger moaning at you?
No thanks. Thanks,
really,
Andrew.
really hard time with
Thanks,
that.
I hate it.
Okay, well, let's go eat our creepy...
So Sam has a very nice setup in this little house. Of course, the three upper levels could all pass as mortal owned, with the exception of some suspiciously thick curtains on every window. But apart from that, it could definitely pass as a regular home. The basement, however, she had custom built. You guys have been working for her for a couple decades now, so you're really familiar with it. That you have to pull a certain book, and a bookshelf slides away, and you have to go down like a set of stairs and everything. But yeah, she has a couple blood dolls that she keeps on premises. They are sworn to secrecy, of course. I hadn't really thought about their names or anything. I just wanted to see if there was a mechanic for reducing hunger that we had to learn, which I'm looking for now. So the only way to slake your hunger down to 0 is to drain a human to the point of death. Like, that's the only way that you can get to 0. You can get to 1 by drinking from a mortal and then leaving them enough blood to like they're unconscious or whatever, and you also have to close up their wounds usually. Although with the blood doll you don't have to be quite as careful. They like it rough, I guess.
Oh dear God.
Oh.
That must be really weird though, if you see another vampire's fang mark. Ew, that's just gross. I'm not gonna think about it.
It's like a weird dick measuring contest for vampires, I guess. Like a territorial marking. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So anyone who wants to can take a bite. But you're gonna have to deal with how weird it is having a blood doll.
Excellent. Me. I sign up for this weird fucking shit show.
How does Paul approach them? Because it's like, and you might be kind of used to it, Paul, because you've bunked with Sam a couple times now. You have your own place, but her place is nicer, and because also she's got blood dolls just lying around. So how do you approach it knowing that you're kind of used to it?
I put my glasses up my face. You know the thing you do where you push your glasses up farther on your forehead? I do that first, and I approach and I'm like, hello, peon.
The anime glasses sheen. Oh, dear Christ.
We'll say it's a woman. She immediately makes doe eyes at you because she knows what's coming. It's like a Pavlovian response at this point.
Paul is immediately slightly grossed out because he's not into women, but he's like, okay. And he's just like, I think he just goes up and bites her. I don't think there's any pleasantries.
No more foreplay.
She definitely does the weird moaning. It's so weird.
Oh god. Yeah, he has like a charisma of 1, so I think it's appropriate that it's like as awkward as possible.
He's like, all right, that's enough. Stop having fun.
Just, you know that thing people do where they sort of like awkwardly sit there and endure something? Like that's what he's doing, except that he's the one drinking someone else's blood. He looks over at you a couple times and like rolls his eyes.
And so Paul goes through the only time in his life when a woman will moan against him.
Ew.
You drain her,
I'm
but
straight and I hate that.
you drain her, and you take care not to kill her because blood dolls is hard to come by. But you eventually drop her back down, and she would be writhing in ecstasy, but she's mostly just unconscious because you took a lot of blood from her.
Excellent.
Paul, your hunger is now 1.
Excellent.
Juana, she's the only blood doll, and if you drink from her now, you'll absolutely kill her. But you can wait until dawn if you want to do another rouse check.
Okay.
Alright, so rouse checks are called rouse checks because you're supposed to do one every dusk when you wake up. I imagine she's probably got some spare coffins lying around. Coffins? You probably use beds.
I'm gonna say, just beds.
Yeah.
There definitely are. I think Clan Nosferatu does typically use coffins, but I don't. I'd have to look it up in my
aesthetic.
But yeah, you can all kip in her spare rooms overnight. Absolutely fine. And they, like I said, they call it a rouse check because you're supposed to do it every time you rouse, every time you wake up at dusk. So I want each of you to make another hunger check or a rouse check. I'll make one for Charles too. Charles failed. Eileen failed.
Oh, fuck.
You all failed.
Shit. She's hungry. We're all hungry.
Wow,
still
all of
failed.
you failed.
That's
Every
so
single
funny.
one of you failed your rouse check. Okay, so you all gain 1 hunger.
Oh, good. That's great.
Yep. So I think at this point Juana is the hungriest, so it might be
Yeah.
good to let her take a crack at the blood doll. How does Juana approach the blood doll? I feel like even though the blood doll definitely gets their jollies off being bitten by a vampire, they get the least jollies from being bitten by you, Juana.
They're like, it feels good, but I'm not.
You're
into
so
that.
dirty and you hiss at them sometimes. It's really weird.
You're not wrong. Yeah, no, I think just similarly no nonsense, but not as skeeved out as Paul was, because whatever.
just hiss at them. And then just
Intimidate you.
Okay, so what's everyone's hunger looking like? Charles is at 2. I think Paul's at 2 as well, right? Because
I was
at
up to 3.
well, now you're down to 1.
Now it goes down. Okay.
Now you go down to 1, unless you decide to kill her. But I would advise against that.
No, I don't want to get on Sam's shit list.
So it's still the evening, and Eileen, what's your hunger level? 3?
2.
Even though you just did your morning rouse check?
Yes, I had 1 before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you never had to. You passed your first rouse check.
I sure did.
Which is apparently a fucking miracle, because every other one of you just...
I know, right?
Yeah, I think I can say I've honestly never actually passed one so far. I mean,
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, you're pretty much all fine at this point. And as you are all waking up and everything, you're stretching, and you realize you have a couple missed calls from Detective Robert Weber.
I didn't hear my X-Files ringtone go off.
I mean, you're a
sleep
deep
hard.
sleeper, so
Okay.
Oh, that's right. You had visions while you were, unconscious.
Did he leave me any voicemails or no?
it's 2019. Of course, he didn't leave a voicemail.
Did he text me?
He after the calls didn't go through, he did text you to say call him back ASAP.
Okay. I'm gonna call
Did
him
he leave
back.
a
I'm gonna give him a hard
voicemail?
time.
Did he?
Can I time about not leaving me a
Can I
voicemail
borrow
because I
his
was born
copy
in the
of
80s.
ET on Betamax?
I died in the 80s. I believe in voicemails.
Okay, so yeah, do you call him back?
Yes.
Okay, he picks up almost immediately, and he says, "Good to hear from you. Hopefully you remember who I am this time, Paul."
Yes, you are Robert. Bob.
Robert is fine. Please don't call me Bob.
Excellent. Well, I was surprised you picked up the phone, considering you didn't leave me a voicemail.
he says, okay, so I have good news and I have bad news. I want to start with the bad news. Can you put me on speakerphone so you don't have to repeat this back to everybody and save time on the podcast?
Speakerphone.
Yes, I put him on speakerphone. I like look at my phone. It takes me a good couple of like.
And Robert
seconds.
Weber just sits there listening to the.
I also remember I have a BlackBerry, so.
Oh my god.
So I don't actually know how to put somebody on speakerphone on a BlackBerry, so it takes a while.
So yeah, eventually.
But I finally put him on speakerphone.
Yeah, and Juana comes over. She's like cleaning the blood off her mouth.
Okay, Bobbert, can you hear me?
Robert, god damn it. He says, okay, listen, like I was saying, good news and bad news. The bad news, after the community discovered the third body, they are mobilizing for some kind of action now. They are taking to the streets. They don't know what they're looking for. Well, that's the good news, actually. They do know what they're looking for. They are looking for Harry Lloyd.
Oh.
They've decided that
was
Harry
the dude we
Lloyd...
talked to.
Yes, they've decided that Harry Lloyd is the one that did all these. And they are getting ready to dispense some mob justice, which, honestly, I think it's a great thing, Robert says. I think let the community go after him, let them pin it on the scapegoat, and their thirst for blood will be sated for a while, and we can continue on our investigation.
Yep,
Is a
I agree.
Detective saying this?
Shh, Juana, I agree. He was looking at my boobs the whole time.
Charles is like, is that a good reason to
creep.
let someone die, though?
Sure is.
I agree with Eileen for once.
Very creepy.
Charles,
don't
you've
like it.
never had anybody stare at your boobs. You don't get to make a call on that.
Charles says, guys, this is like listen, normally I agree he was extremely creepy, but is that a good
Yeah,
reason to let him
no,
die?
I know.
Did we get them?
Do you know that? Because you all jumped on, let's let him take the fall for this pretty quickly.
Wanda was just agreeing about the boobs and creepiness. Not about the kill.
Like I'm setting up this whole like this whole thing is all about morality, and it's like, let's let this innocent guy take the fall. Okay, that's fine. He stared at my boobs one time, so he definitely deserves to die, probably.
Eileen is like, either that or what else? What's the other option? You got a better idea, kid?
Charles is like, well, I mean, we can maybe distract the mob, or like divert them somehow. I'm just not sure it's a great idea to let an innocent man probably get beat to death by an angry mob.
Or shot, based on those guns.
That's true.
So
they did have lots of guns.
We knew he was innocent, right, Eileen? I feel like we didn't have a good chance to talk because we got kidnapped by the guy with the nice limo.
Yeah,
So...
Eileen, your reading of the Harry Lloyd situation was that he was A, extremely creepy, and B, definitely did not commit these murders.
Yes. Yeah, so she relays that yeah, he was super creepy, but probably didn't do it.
Well, I mean, maybe we should find a way to redirect the mob onto the actual perpetrator of the crime instead of letting them kill an innocent person. I can't believe I'm saying this.
He says,
Did
well,
you have any visions?
There is...
Yeah, Robert says, the one problem with that being that, you don't know who it is yet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So do you
we
know?
need to find out. Well, I could have another vision.
Yeah, right. Could you just have one right now?
No,
What are we looking for?
they don't come on command.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's a
The
bummer for you.
process.
They literally do, except they literally do.
You
You can literally
guys don't-
incite a vision.
Okay, but you don't need to know that. Well, Tessa does, but the rest of you. It's privileged information. It happens when Paul wants it to happen.
Uh-huh. Right, so if we have no leads on what we're looking for, then...
Do we have no leads? I guess we have to deal with the situation now, because they're probably going to go kill him now. So
Robert
we
says,
solve
yeah,
that
to be
first.
clear, you've got a very limited amount of time to figure out what you want to do with Harry Lloyd. And again, I see no problem in just letting this happen. But I guess you guys...
You're a cop!
It's
Yeah, but
fine.
I'm like a
That's what
bad cop. Like, this is a bad city.
Just
Me.
say that? Just like, you're like me, bad cop. It's like, I
I freely...
recording you, sir!
I freely admit that I'm a shitty cop. I mean, your boss Sam Stokes bribes me on the regular, so like...
Yeah, that is kind of how it works.
I mean, okay.
Anyways, fine. We need to probably find a way to not let this man die. They're headed there now. Any way we could beat them there and, sneak him out?
Beat him there? Maybe it's a really, really tight timetable. You get the feeling. Like, it's out, based on what Detective Weber has said, they're already on their way.
Well, couldn't the cops take him into protective custody?
Not on the timetable we're working with right now. You'd probably get there quicker than the cops could, and it looks like Robert Weber hasn't already sent someone over because he sucks. So
Cops have
Why don't we talk in the
sirens.
car on the way?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, do you want to leave any orders with Detective Weber, with what you want him to do about the situation, or you just hang up on him again, Paul?
I mean, I'm definitely going.
He doesn't know how to hang up on speakerphone.
I'm going to hang up on him, but before we do that, I'm gonna
How do
ask
I
him to
turn
bring...
off speakerphone? Wait, hang on.
Have him bring. I'm gonna ask it. Bring a cop car. You know, the sirens, the shiny lights. Bring one of those to the scene, because I think we should pretend to be secret detectives and arrest him and put him into a car.
That's not a bad idea, actually. He can. I'm sure Weber has like an undercover car that he drives that's assigned to him from the police bureau or whatever.
Also, maybe like some spare badges.
He says, "I'm absolutely not going to help you impersonate a police officer, but I will bring around a car and I'll, spin the sirens and get them spooked." That definitely.
I think that's fair. I think that's the play. I mean, unless you guys have a better idea.
Nope, that sounds good.
Where could we find handcuffs on charges?
Sam has a sex dungeon.
Paul, we don't need handcuffs.
Yes, we do.
Sam has a sex dungeon.
Yeah, thank you. I'd go to the sex dungeon and I'd get some handcuffs.
Oh my
bitches.
god.
They're fuzzy handcuffs, though.
Oh.
They're pink and fuzzy, so.
Whatever. As long as they...
You're under arrest, and you pull out the pink fuzzy handcuffs.
He's like, not really normally my type, no boobs, but okay, I guess. I'm up for something new.
I think we can get this. I think we got this. Let's get in the car, let's go.
Okay, so you all tear ass. It is just barely past sunset. Quite early for your tastes, but And sure enough, before long, by the time you get to within half a mile of Harry Lloyd's house, you see the mob, and indeed they are going straight for his place. You have managed to get to them get to the same place the same time as they do. How do you want to attack this? Paul has a pair of pink fuzzy handcuffs for all the fucking good it will do him.
Exactly, right. Eileen could activate awe, like to make people afraid and be like, "Move out of the way, official business."
If you're really going with this impersonating a police officer plan, you will be at somewhat of a handicap based on the fact that you do not have a badge or anything.
True. Back door, then it is. Or roof. Whichever.
I mean, distracting the mob might not be a bad idea, Charles says, while one of the others tries to sneak Harry out the back or something.
I think that's fair. Okay, Eileen, I think you're the distracting person.
Oh yeah, okay. What kind of distractions did you have in mind?
Take your shirt off, Charles says.
Okay, I was, first of all, not ever talking to you, Charles. Second of all, I also don't want to hear Paul's opinion, but I'm asking for it anyway.
The only opinion I want to hear is Wada's. Both of you men, shut up.
I could try to summon a bunch
what
of
it feels like? Oh my god, I think I finally understand what it's like to be an MRA.
Okay. Oh my god.
It's got bitches telling me to shut up left and right.
Juana, you got ideas?
I could summon a bunch of rats.
Rats? Not cats?
Yeah, I can do all kinds of animals.
Perfect. I will do my damsel in distress and be like, ew, gross, because they are really gross. Your cats and rats.
Yeah.
Both of them.
New York sewer rats, definitely.
We're just gonna call a plague of rats, and that's not going to make people think there's something weird going on?
And also, you're relying on, the inherent empathy of an angry mob.
Oh, we don't got time. Someone's got to break in.
Well, we're in bullet time now. This is bullet time. I'm giving you an opportunity to think it over. Like I said, relying on an angry mob to stop being angry and mobbing, to go in and save Eileen might be a little bit of a tall order.
I was actually hoping that they would stampede, that people would be just terrified of disgusting rats and just run away.
Yeah, I think AR-15 beats rat.
Probably, you're right.
In most situations.
Better options. Who's got them?
Well, I mean, Eileen definitely, she's got the awe thing, so she's definitely in team distraction.
Mm-hmm. So what does that do exactly? You roll in it.
I can either make people, just absolutely starry-eyed about me, or I can make them terrified of me.
Okay. Multiple people, or is it one at a time?
Let me see.
I don't think it specifies. I'm looking at your thing right now.
Yeah.
Add the presence rating to any skill roll involving persuasion or performance, as well as other charisma-related rolls. They are definitely not aware they're being affected. So yeah, I guess it doesn't specify, so I guess theoretically you can do it on the mob, yeah.
Okay. So I think that's what we want to do.
Maybe
so
Eileen can go in and chastise them for being angry mobs.
Yeah, I think we need you need to have a cover story. So the story should be what? Something like, I don't know, maybe you're like a former victim and you're like pleading with them to, I don't like something like that. Like,
yeah, I just spoke to him last night. Like, he's innocent. He is really creepy.
The best lies are the truth, as the adage
he is
goes.
really creepy, but that doesn't mean that.
If you distract him long enough, the rest of us will sneak in, break him out. By that time, maybe the cop car will show up, but we can hustle him into that and get him the fuck out.
Okay. Yeah, she's gonna do that. Like, wait.
Charles is like, okay, does anyone want to stay with Eileen in case things go south?
Yeah, I need a backup for sure.
Wanda should stay.
Yep. The brawler definitely should stay.
The one who can break necks with her bare fucking hands.
Yep.
The MRAs should go break into the house.
I feel like Charles would definitely align himself with an MRA because he's such a fucking tool, but like Paul does it without really understanding what it entails or like
oh yeah, no, he doesn't get it. He's just like, yes, that is a thing. Good point.
I'm a man and I want the right to fuck whoever I want. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you split up. Juana and Eileen go straight for the angry mob. Paul and Charles split off and try to go around to get into the back door, it sounds like you wanted to try?
Yes.
Okay, so you are gonna have to do some larceny. Who's ready for some larceny?
Yay! It's Vampire the Masquerade! Let's do it!
I'm actually very bad at larceny. What a bad idea.
Charles is actually pretty good at larceny. He's got 3 decks and 2 larceny, so let's have him roll that.
That's much better than me, because mine is 2 decks and 0 larceny.
And it's a pretty typical luck, so let's say 5. Oh, it's a messy critical. Oh no.
Oh, breaks it off.
Okay, so Charles is like, we don't have time for this, and he like busts directly through the door. It just cracks off its hinges.
We weren't supposed to. I remember okay.
I'm sorry. I'm hungry. I'm testy. So let's.
Not a morning person.
Let's cut back to Juana and Eileen, where I'm so interested in seeing Eileen preach morality to an angry mob of gun-wielding maniacs.
Right.
So
this is gonna be so bad. Oh,
yeah, she's gonna grab, I guess, the nearest dude and be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?"
One of them, rabble, no, Harry Lloyd, death to the evil murderer or whatever. I'm a DM and a writer. I know it's difficult to believe, but I have a degree in English. I've published a book. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable,
I just
right?
Like to believe that this person doesn't actually know what they're doing there. They just followed a bunch of people, and they're like, what's going on?
I brought my own pitchfork, yeah.
Oh, dear God. Okay, do I have to roll first or after?
You can roll, technically you can roll at any point. So this would be a...
manipulation and
presence
versus composure.
Well, that's what it says, but let me just double check. Like, manipulation, definitely. Like, you're trying to make someone do a thing that they want. And let's go ahead and add persuasion and your awe. So that's manipulation 3, persuasion 2, so that's 5, and then awe is 1. So you've got a total of 6 die in your pool.
And then I'm at 2 hunger now. Nice.
Alrighty. Yeah, that's 3 successes. That's definitely... That's enough. You successfully distract them. And what are you preaching? Like, paint me a word picture on how Eileen succeeds in this. I'm so curious.
I feel like she grabs the nearest person, like the nearest people, and it's like, okay, wait, guys, seriously. Like, I literally just talked to him last night. This guy, Harry Lloyd, total creepo. I understand, but he is not guilty. I can attest to that.
They are, if they're not entirely convinced immediately, but they are like, how do you know he's not guilty? What are you, some kind of investigator? Are you investigating the murderers?
Sure. Yes, I'm like, the PI.
Oh yeah, and then Juana can come out and be like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hadn't thought that far. I guess that she would...
Juana just said, claim you're a PI. That's not a bad move, actually.
Yeah, there we go. She'd be like, actually, yes.
I'm a private investigator.
Right.
And some sexist in the back's like, not possible, no PIS boobs that great.
Yeah, they helped me in my job.
What a prick.
Excuse you. We did a lot of canvassing of this neighborhood last night, okay? Asking around, and y'all pointed us to Harry Lloyd, so I investigated him, and he's clean. We need to focus our attention in some other direction. It's not this guy.
So let's cut back inside the house. Paul, Charles just broke Harry Lloyd's back door right off its hinges. Because that's what messy critical do. You can hear Harry Lloyd come down the stairs like, what the hell? My door!
We have bigger problems right now, boy.
What? Hey, who are you?
You have to come with me if you want to live.
Great.
I saw that in a movie once. How does it work? Do you feel like you want to come with me?
He doesn't especially, so you can either try to roll for it, or you can, drag him to the front of the window and be like, look!
Yeah, I think that's what we would do. I'm gonna grab him by the scruff of his neck, and I'm gonna be like, look, just drive him to the window and pull up into the shade. Not a lot, just, enough so he could, see out. You know, the thing where you just lift up one blind and be like, there's a mob of people, and they have, your name is on their kill list, so we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here now.
That definitely spooks him, and he's like, alright. But seriously, why did you break my door? And Charles is like, I'm hungry and testy! Don't question me!
Don't ask the man questions right now. He's
I'm
cranky.
hungry!
Let's just go.
I'm cranky!
Okay, yep, let's go. Out the back door.
Charles and Paul steer him out the back. And right as they are doing that, you hear the telltale sound of sirens coming up the street.
Excellent. So, man, I gotta do this because I went to the dungeon and everything. Can I just handcuff you? It's just for the show.
Charles is like, dude, they're fuzzy pink handcuffs. You're not going to fool anyone.
It's going to be dark. They're not going to see what's going on. We'll just keep his hand behind his back.
Then why did you even need the handcuffs, you fucking lunatic?
I really thought you would cooperate. Okay, fine. Just put your hands behind your back and look like you're being arrested, okay, man?
Just keep your head down, and Charles and you kind of nudge him. You're trying to go around. There's like a side, low, waist-high fence with some shrubbery, and you try to sneak him around that. And indeed, the cops are pulling up. The mob did not get any less angry. They did, you distracted them, Eileen. You definitely distracted them. You bought them vital time, but they were not suddenly like, you know what? Let's all stop and think about this rationally for a second. That's not how angry mobs do.
Yeah.
But when they hear the sirens, they are like, all right, you know what? Never mind. Let's go. And you can hear them all muttering and sort of pulling away, and you can hear Robert Weber's voice booming through the speakerphone on top of how some cops' cars have those speakerphones on the top? Please disperse. This is an unlawful gathering, or whatever cops say. I don't know anything about cops.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
But Charles is like, oh, thank Christ. And he immediately pulls Harry Lloyd up, and just, knocks frantically on the door, Weber, open the door! And the door is unlocked, and he pushes Harry Lloyd inside without anyone noticing. Congratulations, you saved Harry Lloyd's life. There were definitely consequences to you letting Harry Lloyd get the beat down. And I'm proud of you, and you did a good job.
Thank you.
Still hungry.
You are a little peckish, that's true.
You can just grab somebody off the street and just...
It's like, hey, let me show you my boobs in high definition. He's like, oh, okay.
Theoretically, you can do that at any time with, there's ways to, well, Paul can do it. I don't know if Eileen can do it.
I can do it. Oh, I'm gonna do it.
I can't erase their memory, though. That's the problema.
But Paul can.
Yeah, I know. It's some of y'all can, but Eileen can't.
I'm doing that right now.
Oh, no.
Drunk.
What?
In front of an angry mob may not be the best place to take a victim, Paul.
Aren't they slinking away to an alleyway? Okay,
yeah, but they're still a mob.
Okay, I'll wait till they're less mobby.
God.
Weber, he has pulled the car up in front of the house, and he kind of gestures you. You can climb inside the car and talk to him if you want to.
I'm reluctantly get inside the car.
Charles will get in after you. I assume Paul takes shotgun, because of course he does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Paul we're talking about. But Charles can climb into the back, and maybe Eileen lean into the window. I don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
Harry Lloyd in the back's like, Jesus Christ, this is really getting serious, huh? And Robert Weber's like, shut up, creeper. And then he turns his attention to all of you and he says, well, I mean, you managed to spare his life. I am still maintained that we probably should have just, let him get to him. There's no sating a bloodlust this intense.
He's sitting right in the back seat, man.
Harry Lloyd's like, hey. But I mean, I guess if we're gonna do it honest or whatever, and as they're all talking, the police radio comes on. As soon as he hears it, Detective Weber puts one hand up and he's like, hang on. He's listening to this radio broadcast and he says, just got a 911 call on Fleeker Street. There's been another body discovered. This time there's a message left behind.
Lovely.
Oh, God, took no time at all.
Someone has a penchant for the dramatic. She side-eyes Paul.
I don't know why you're giving me that look. Okay, I just rescued this man. I just saved this man's life. Like
Me?
a hero.
Dramatic? And he flips his hair dramatically.
He takes his sunglasses off and then puts them back on slowly.
Oh my God.
Oh, like the Horatio Cane.
Yes. Thank you for remembering the name. I couldn't remember last time.
I'm the only person on planet Earth who remembers Horatio Cane's name.
We need to go to the new scene.
Yeah, you sure do.
Yep.
Robert Weber, he says he can't offer you a lift, but he's all got Harry Lloyd in his backseat that he should wait with until the mob disperses.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably better if you just go on your own.
Yeah, that's fine. You can take care of Creeper.
Don't let him die? I feel like that's a weird thing that I should be saying to you, but I'm also concerned, especially given that groan, that it's not something that you would have thought of. So no letting the man who is, again, creepy as fuck, but innocent die.
Fine, I guess. Whatever. I'll let him die.
I give Harry a look and I'm like, you are very creepy. And then I get out of the car.
And Harry's like, okay. And you all just leave. So Fleeker Street, they get the address that you heard over the police scanner is of a hotel. Not the nicer one that you saw the, that charming southern gentleman, where you met that charming southern gentleman in. Marcus Lecter, yes. That's a shittier one. So by the time you get there, because it was already over the police scanner, there's already a lot of buzz about these murders. This is the fourth one in a week. So it's getting a lot of attention now, and there's really no getting a hold on it. So when you pull up outside the crime scene, there's already a couple cops waiting. You can see them talking with EMS, who's on their way out. It's well, they're dead, so there's not a whole lot EMS can do at this particular moment. They're waiting for CSI to get there, some shit like that. How do you want to tackle this? How do you want to?
Interesting. Okay, so there's already cops there.
Yep.
They don't know us, so we can't just fucking walk in.
Yeah, there's a couple plainclothes officers outside talking with EMS who's leaving.
I feel like we should get badges. I'm just saying that we should talk to Sam.
Impersonating a police officer is a felony, Paul.
I'm
we
sorry.
Don't need badges.
We're already bribing police officers. I'm pretty sure that's also a felony. So
it's corruption is fine if it's institutional.
Weird
right.
This is America.
Right here. It's a very weird moral line to walk.
Welcome to America.
I should not be getting chastised for the various levels of corruption going on here. Is there a back way in? Is there a way we could sneak around?
There's not a back door or anything. There are a couple windows. It would be kind of difficult for all of you to scale.
Right.
Charles can suggest maybe we can call Sam. We can.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because if she owns the police, can't she get them to let us in?
Do you think it's worth it? She's very scary, and I don't like being on her bad side, but it might be worth it. We haven't pissed her off too much.
I mean, not yet. This request might.
Okay, it just happened. We just woke up. It just happened. What were we supposed to do?
I don't know. We could ask what kind of body it is. What's going on? I don't know. Get some info first.
From who? You can't go to the scene.
Plainclothes officers. Outside.
Yeah, they're probably not going to be super amenable to answering questions on a brand new murder scene.
I feel like if I were just to go walk up to a crime scene and I was like, hello, could you just tell me a little bit about the crime? I'm very curious and I would like to take notes.
Hello, officer.
God, Paul would whip out his notebook and be like, I'm just, taking some notes. That's not creepy at all.
If you could just provide, so what was the time of death? And also,
God.
What was the state of the body?
I mean, you can always go the Freddie Lowndes route.
I don't get that reference, so I don't know what that means, but okay.
It's a Hannibal thing.
Oh yeah, no wonder I don't get it.
I think we should call Sam, but I think I should not call Sam. So.
You should definitely not call Sam, Paul, or anybody. You don't even know how to work your own phone.
I do. I have a BlackBerry.
Wait, how do I put this thing on speaker? Hang on.
Does anyone else here own a BlackBerry? I thought not.
No, because it's 2019.
Okay, but they can't own touch phones.
They technically can use touch phones if they have like it's called Blush of Life. Like you have to specifically activate a particular ability to use a touch screen, which I find hilarious. Like that's attention to detail that I absolutely adore.
Right.
Okay, wait, this is very important.
I'm sorry.
What phone do other people have?
Flip phones, duh.
Do you
I was
have
gonna
a
say either flip
Razr?
phone or like Juana might be just like going all in on this crazy thing and has a jitterbug.
Oh my god!
She just has a network of
That's
ads.
canon. That's canon. No, she has a jitterbug. She has
Perfect.
a jitterbug.
Actually, excellent.
The one with the really big
amazing.
buttons, and when you
I
hit it,
love
the
that.
dial tone is super, super loud.
I love it.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, wait. I think Wanda has to call now.
Right.
Hello.
Does Eileen have like one of those like 2006 razors, like the pink ones?
Perfect, yeah.
Yes.
They've got like the stupid little charms on them too.
Yes.
Perfect.
And everyone was like, why did none of these people have touch phones?
Can't afford it. Fuck off.
Okay, so Juana, you want to call Sam?
Yeah.
All right. She picks up pretty quickly. Sam's always very easy to get into contact with. She says, "What's up?"
Good news. We got Harry Lloyd out of there.
She says, "I don't know who Harry Lloyd is, and also I do not care, but I guess it's good that someone else isn't dead."
That's the bad news.
Oh, god damn it.
There's another murder and there's something about a message and we can't get in because there's cops everywhere.
She says, "Where is it?"
Fleeker Street?
Fleeker Street. All right. Stand by, give it like 20 minutes, and then approach them. If you tell them that you're with Sam, they'll let you in.
Okie dokie.
But do give it 20 minutes. Just don't, like, I know you've had trouble with timing in the past, Juana, you know.
10 minutes?
20 minutes. 5 minutes? 20 minutes!
She's like, I'm sorry, that was like
fingers.
10 and a half? 12 minutes, got it.
And the rest of you are like, the rest of us are just sitting there watching, being like, oh god, oh god.
What a dysfunctional squad. Okay. So yeah, you hang up. And like watching it is actually kind of enjoyable. Like the cops are talking to each other. They're looking very serious. And then, about 15 minutes later, one of their phones ring and they pick it up and you can just see the confusion wash over their face. Like, what do you mean we have to let in? What are you talking about? And then for timing's sake, I imagine Charles immediately like walks up right as they're on their phone and is like, "Hey, we're with Sam, move."
Paul back
Eileen
there is like,
flips
no,
her hair.
it hasn't been 20, it's been 19 minutes and 50s.
Shut up, you lawful idiot. Come on.
We have to wait to the, oh god.
I mean, yeah, Charles walks out and I was like, we're with Sam, move. And like the guy looks from his phone to Charles and he's like, okay, I guess. Who are you? Don't ask questions. And Charles like storms past.
Yeah, he's really grumpy. Sorry about that.
So you all enter this hotel. It is it's a gross, dirty hotel. You give it a 2-star review on Yelp. You go through to where it's not difficult to find because everyone is avoiding it. It's like the one room on the ground floor that no one's looking at and people are walking past and the door is wide open and there's like crime scene tape. It's hard to miss. So this room, it's about what you expected apart from the blood. There is a very attractive young man, golden-haired, lying on the bed in a pool of his own blood. You can tell pretty much immediately based on, the look of him and the fact, that there's, suspiciously laid bottles of condoms and Viagra everywhere. This guy was probably a sex worker. You're just a guess. And over his head, above the headboard on the bed, written in what you would guess is the victim's blood, are the words 4 for 4. And the moment all of you see that, you are thrown back into A flashback! The year is 1982. It's only been a couple days since you were created, basically. You are brand new vampires. You are staying in a hotel not dissimilar to this one. The first thing you become cognizant of is this wet sensation running down your throat. All of you have this wet sensation running down your throat. The second thing you become aware of is a corpse at your feet. It's a young woman. You realize slowly that you have just murdered someone. And she is now lying at your feet in a growing pool of blood. What do you do?
Are we all around each other, or are we alone?
You are all
here?
together.
Okay.
You are all together. You are very, very new vampires.
I take a step back.
Charles is like, what the fuck just happened?
I have no idea. Who did that? Was it me? You? Everybody?
I think we all did it.
Oh, God.
You remember who did this.
What do we do? Oh, God, there's just a body here now.
We have to get rid of it.
Yeah, we cannot leave this here.
No.
Okay. We can't just throw it out a window. Someone's gonna notice.
No.
Definitely not.
Are we covered in blood?
Yeah, you are definitely covered in blood.
Okay.
Right.
Paul just starts taking off his clothes.
Oh, God.
Charles is like, Paul, not now!
It's not the time or the place.
We are covered in blood. Do you want to walk out of here? There's got to be other. Where are we?
You're in a hotel room. Not very dissimilar from the one you were just in this previous scene.
Maybe there's. He starts rummaging through drawers, trying to see if there's other clothes or anything. He's panicking. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, it doesn't. No other sets of clothes or anything. But I do like the image of Paul frantically opening up the wardrobe and seeing, in every hotel there's always those exactly six coat hangers.
Yep.
And literally nothing else. And maybe a laundry bag.
Is there a robe?
Not in the armoire, no. You can try checking the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm gonna panic. He's panicked. He's just
trying
to find something.
Alright, well that lunatic is panicking. Anybody else have better ideas?
I guess we could try to drag her to the dumpster. Charles is you can tell that he's really conflicted. It's not in his nature to, drag a corpse to a dumpster. That's not something he thought he would have to do in his lifetime. Or lifetime. Sorry, I'm ruining the mood.
That, doesn't seem a little suspicious to you. I feel like that's what they do in all the TV shows and movies. Hey, don't worry about it. Just a lot of trash, shaped suspiciously like a body.
I don't have a lot of experience getting rid of bodies, guys.
Yeah, none of us do. I mean, I hope none of us do. Do you guys?
As you are all
I don't
frantically
think suggested that.
As you are all frantically deciding what to do, you hear sound of a key turning, and someone opens the door and he says, "Beer delivery! Shauna, where's my..." "Oh God, Shauna!" You all turn and you see a young man with a large keg of beer under one arm, and he says, "Oh my God!" And he starts to scream. What do you do?
Grab him and pull him in the room.
You grab him, you pull him inside, he starts screaming and thrashing against you, Eileen.
Okay, you know what? Can someone, I'm freaking out too. Stop screaming or I'll scream.
The door is still open, by the way.
I'm running. Close the door.
Close the door. Close the door.
Okay, so you've got one dead body and one person who is screaming and thrashing in Eileen's arms.
So I found a Bible, right? Whenever I was searching.
Of course. And the Book of Mormon right next to it.
Did they start putting those things in the 80s? I don't actually. I know they have them everywhere.
I think it was earlier.
They're back in those were there in the 60s.
Yeah.
It's
sure. Probably the 50s that they started it.
Sure, you find a Bible. I don't know what you want to do with it, but let's find out.
In a panic, I whack him over the head with it.
Oh God! Paul, what is wrong with you?
That's a metaphor for something. I'm not sure what. Okay. Okay, sure. So you hit this innocent man over the head with a Bible. You have vampiric strength, so you... let's go ahead and make you roll for it. This would be, I guess, strength plus... athletics, maybe? Yeah, let's go with strength plus athletics.
Well, good news here is that I don't have... what's my hunger level in this flashback?
0. You've just killed a woman.
Okay.
2 out of 3 successes is more than enough. You knock this person unconscious. So now you have a dead body and an unconscious body.
Okay, yeah, that really wasn't helpful. Also, I don't really know why I brought him in, but also you didn't have to hit him, Paul.
I'm sorry, was it better than the... Actually, he just drops the Bible and stares at you.
Also, you hit him with the Bible? We're gonna go to hell. It's fine, it's fine.
From behind you, you hear, "Security! What was that scream?"
Jesus fucking Christ.
We're watching a horror movie, it's fine. It's fine, I'm sorry.
"Open the door, please. We need to do a security check."
Fuck.
Okay, who wants to put the body underneath the bed? Can it fit under the bed? Is it the kind of bed that has,
we're
boards?
covered in blood!
You're covered in blood and so is the floor.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're just having a good old time.
This is not good.
I don't know how you think we're getting out of this.
A couple days before this whole mess happened, before the body, before everything went to hell, you are sitting together in the lobby of that same hotel. You are all very, very hungry in a way that you've never felt hungry before. And you've been set up at this hotel by your new acquaintance, Sam. She set up a meeting with you tomorrow to talk about what you are, what you've become. She seems like she wants to help you, but in the meantime, being around all of these people, there's some big convention in town.
Oh dear.
And you're not even sure, you're so distracted by your own dark impulses that you're not even sure what the convention's about. Even though there are banners everywhere and people talking about the convention constantly, you can't even focus on what it's about. So you're all sitting around a table. The convention is happening maybe 20 feet away from you. Bunches of people crisscrossing in every direction, talking, laughing, drinking, eating. What are you doing as you are sitting at this table?
I think I'm pounding back alcohol, thinking that might help. And,
A fun thing you discover about being a vampire, no matter how much you drink, you can't get drunk. At least not by the usual imbibing.
Well, I'm trying it anyway. And I think, Paul's just jittery. He's that person who's sitting at a table and won't stop moving. Everything is shaking. His, legs are jittering up and down. And I think he's talking really fast. He's just we can do this. We can totally do it. It's fine. This is all fine. We just have to stay strong long enough to just don't look at them. Just don't look at them, guys. Just don't look at them.
Charles is looking at you, Paul, because if he doesn't look at you, he's going to be looking at all these little bags of blood wandering around. Free food, hors d'oeuvres, just walking around.
Yeah.
But every now and then his eyes flick back to the crowd, and you can see his fingers twitch. He is really not doing well.
Yeah, I feel like also Eileen is not quite as jittery as Paul, but she's got one finger that she just keeps tapping in a rhythm on the table, just all right, it's fine. She's trying to focus her mind to think about anything else.
What about you, Wana?
Wana is doing her best to not look at people, but is definitely looking and trying to find a place that she can go and just think, maybe. But then she keeps getting distracted by somebody walking past.
Yeah, Charles is with you. He wants to leave, but every time he thinks, I have to get out of here, he sees, someone walk by and his entire body lurches. He eventually says, we can't stay here. No. If we stay here, I'm worried we're gonna do something.
Yeah,
There has to be a way. There's gotta be something we can do. We can go. We'll just hold ourselves up somewhere.
Sam did buy out a suite for you for the weekend.
Why are we in the lobby, guys? This is idiotic.
I mean, it's fine.
It was one of those moments of bravado. It's well, I'm feeling kind of peckish, so I'll go out and get something to eat. And then you realize you don't want to eat the food. Ooh! Happy Halloween, everyone! Cut back to the suite. You all left the lobby. You can just stay out here anymore. You can wait for Sam in your suite. You are all, it's when a vampire, you don't know this yet, but when a vampire, the hungrier they get, the less control they have over their memories, the less control they have over their emotions and, how they think and how they act. They get more frantic and more frenetic. and you are all sitting in this suite. I imagine, like, Charles, for his part, is pacing like a caged animal, like just walking back and forth, wearing treads in the floor. What are the rest of you doing to kill time? There's a TV. Is anyone watching TV?
That's what I was thinking. Like, Eileen's just gonna like absently flip through the channel. She's not watching at all, but she's just like channel, just keeps repeatedly pressing the button.
Paul's curled up like under, like in a ball on the bed, like he's sitting up, but he's just like shaking and just like rocking back and forth.
Lana?
What time of day is it?
It is getting close to dusk. You can't go out. You've got the curtains drawn, but you can see like the outline of sunlight around the outside. Yeah.
Juana's just kind of like doing that thing where like she paces around the tiny little bits of sunlight that are peeking through. She wants to be prowling next to the window, but she can't, so she's prowling as close to it as she can.
As you are all killing time, you're so hungry, you're getting really, really desperate. You hear the door unlock again, and a young woman enters. She is dressed very nicely, and her blood smells unbelievable. Like, just the smell of her from across the room is enough to almost knock you out. She puts her hands demurely in front of her lap, and she looks at you with no trace of fear, and she says, "I'm here for you." And it is at this point that your visions just go blood red. You're all still sitting in the hotel suite. There are now a couple bodies around you. You don't remember exactly how it happened. A couple people just started coming in, and before you knew what was happening, there were more unconscious people. There was you had to kill some people. It's all kind of a hazy, foggy blur. There's a nightman. There's a party goer with a keg of beer that he never got to open. You're all sitting around the table in this blood-drenched room, and sitting across from you is Sam. And she is sort of taking in this tableau that you've created with a very non-judgmental expression on her face. And eventually she turns to the three of you and she says, "Well, what are we going to do about this?"
This is horrifying. We're just in a room drenched with blood. We're just in a giant blood-drenched room. This is possibly the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
I don't know how...
But we have to think of something. We can.
She says,
if we just
relax, Eileen, relax. I own this hotel, and I have some measure of control over how fast things move. She says, we have time. Let's come up with a plausible story for this.
It looks like a crime scene. It looks like a murder investigation came in here. Oh my god.
Yes, you're right, Paul. I got it. Okay, it's a murder scene, and there was a murder, and there's a killer.
There was definitely a murder.
Okay, wait. I got it though. There's a phrase like 4 for 4. How about that? It's a great idea.
A serial killer? Maybe?
Yes.
Sam is listening to this, just sort of, with this thoughtful expression. And she says, well, the problem with that is there's only 3 bodies here. I suppose we could up it a little bit more. She says, you know what, don't worry about that. I'll take care of that. I'll make sure this idea of yours, Eileen, and it is a good idea, a serial killer. This is the suburbs of New York City. No one will have trouble believing it's a serial killer. I'll make sure that this idea takes off. But, of course, these services don't come free, you understand.
Right.
Of course, whatever we can do to get out. We've got to get out of this. We're going to go to jail. We're going to die.
She says, you guys are new to this lifestyle, so I understand if you've never heard the phrase boon before. But if you want me to take care of this, which I will, happily, in repayment you will owe me a boon. You'll work for me until I decide that your boon has been repaid.
That seems fair.
Yes. How long does that generally take?
She says, I wouldn't worry about the length at this particular juncture, Paul. She says, after all, you now have the rest of eternity.
Paul's like, shakily, he goes, we have no choice. Fine. Yes. Thank you for your help.
Sam rises neatly to her feet. The only sign of the gore is the very is the underside of her very fancy Louboutin heels, which were already red, but are now a significantly darker shade of red since she's walked through this blood-soaked carpet. She says, 4 for 4. That's quite creative, Eileen. You were an artist, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
She says, it shows. We are back in 2019. You are standing at this murder scene and staring at the words 4 for 4 on the wall.
Yeah.
I think I just slowly turned to look at Eileen.
Yeah, Eileen looks horrified.
To be clear, Eileen has not said specifically, none of you are specifically sure who came up with that phrase. Eileen's just a little more sure than anyone else.
Right, exactly.
Guys?
Yeah, that phrase.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Charles rubs his chin. He says, that was almost 30 years ago. I don't remember any of their names. I don't remember. There's only one person I can think of who might know. Sam, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're gonna have to call in another favor.
Oh boy.
Who wants that fun call?
I guess
I
should do it.
Eileen's like, can your phone take pictures? My phone can't take pictures. I have a sidekick, Charles says. I've decided if Juana has a jitterbug, Charles has a sidekick.
Right.
That's excellent.
So I'll say, yeah, I have a razor. So yeah, sure.
So on brand.
Right. She's just gonna, I can take pictures. She's gonna whip it out and take a picture with it.
And send it to
Send it to Sam.
Send it to Sam. It takes a couple minutes. Like, you can actually, your phone isn't that advanced, but if you had like an iPhone, it would be like flip to red, and then it would be staying red for like 10 whole minutes, and then Sam is typing.
Right.
It takes her a couple minutes to respond, but when she does, the only thing that comes up is well.
Yeah, well indeed.
She calls you a moment later. Mm-hmm. I assume you put her on speakerphone, Eileen?
Yeah, which she actually knows how to do.
Because she's not an
she's
idiot,
like, all right, everybody.
Paul. So, you put her on speakerphone, and she says, "Well, this is certainly a predicament, isn't it?"
Yeah, who would know that phrase?
She says, "Well, it did make some minor news, but I agree that the best lead that we've got would be to look into the families of those people that you well."
Yeah.
She says, "All right, well, come back to the brownstone, and by the time you arrive, I should have some good information for you."
Okay. Will do.
What's the mood on the road back to Sam's place?
Like, dead silent.
Yeah, like super pensive. Like Eileen is just really inside her own head right now.
Bringing new meaning to the quiet of the dead kind of thing.
Right.
Quiet as the grave. Woo! Happy Halloween! You eventually do make it back to Sam's place, I imagine, having said absolutely nothing on the ride over.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You let yourselves in. Sam is still in her office. She has just brought up some information. You can hear the printer going. And she says, "Welcome back, superstars. Have a seat."
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
She pulls off the information that she got off the printer, and she says, "So, let's start with the good news. I think I know who done it."
Okay. That's something.
There were 4 victims, that night. The only one that had any, surviving relatives who might, for instance, seek vengeance or something, was the first, the woman. She says she had an older sister. By now, she's in her 60s. I've looked her up. Her name is Martha Raditz. She lives in town. And the good news is I know exactly where you can find her. The bad news is that, she's been in a... Let's just say her name came up on some other websites, like debt collection websites. She's in some pretty significant medical debt. So I don't know what it is you're going to be walking into, but what's your plan for this exactly?
Ugh.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten that far yet.
Charles says, God, are we seriously going to turn her over to Lecter?
Oh yeah, we didn't tell. We didn't mention Lecter.
We didn't mention that to Sam. I
No,
don't
we did
think.
not.
Sam kind of raises an eyebrow. Marcus Lecter, the neighboring...
Yeah,
What did-
that one. Mm-hmm.
What did that guy want?
The murderer.
Yeah, alive.
She says, oh yeah, his little thing with
Mhm.
blood.
Mhm.
She says, well, I mean, when I gave you this mission, my only stipulation was to make it stop happening. It does seem a little,
Heartless.
a little bit, especially since this is going to be the sister of whoever it is.
One of our victims.
One of your earliest victims, yes.
She still killed 4 innocent people.
That's true. Sam readily admits, like, that is true. And
Like,
I'm not
she's-
saying that that discounts what she did, but you have to take into consideration, would she have killed them if you hadn't killed her sister?
Probably not.
But that doesn't stop that she killed 4 innocent people. Like, it's...
Is that enough in your mind, Paul, to subject her to whatever Marcus Lecter has in mind for her?
I mean, isn't he just gonna kill her?
You don't know what Marcus Lecter wants to do for her. If he wants, if there's something about her blood, it stands to reason he'd have more reason to keep her alive than dead.
Yeah.
You don't know what he does, though. He did not specify, probably intentionally, you think.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like she knows potentially something about us. Don't you think it's dangerous to turn her over to somebody, not knowing his full intentions?
True.
Sam says, that's true as well. We don't know how much she knows about you or about us, the capital us, the kindred us.
Mm.
Yeah.
That makes it a little more dangerous to turn her over to, like, the police. Is that the other option here?
She says, I suppose you could try to turn her over to the police. There's always a very good chance that they're not going to believe her. If she tells you that actually she was inspired to do this by a bunch of vampires that killed her sister in 1982.
Yeah, that would make her sound crazier than Paul.
I think the only option you have left is to talk to her.
That's a
Yeah,
place to start.
We have to stop her.
Oh yeah, for sure.
She killed people she thought were bad. Although she killed...
You don't know her motivations, Paul.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
As far
but
as
I mean,
we know, it's just random.
well, okay, but like we have some background here. Like we can still make some guesses about her motivations. Also, like my literal description is I'm a person who tries to put patterns together.
Right.
That's
Like-
true. That's fair.
Two of them were pretty skeezy.
Yeah,
You know, we had a drug dealer and guy who was forceful with his ladies.
Mm-hmm.
A male sex
don't know
worker
much-
and a vagrant, Charles adds.
Yeah, the vagrant.
yeah. Which the last two is not like we have no evidence that they were bad people.
Right.
Right.
It's
I'm
just-
literally just realizing this for the first time, but is it possible that each of the 4 victims are supposed to be echoes of the player characters?
Right. Exactly.
Like the sex worker, the vagrant,
Yeah.
the drug dealer, and the douche.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Wait, which one am I?
You're the douche. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah. I was like,
Charles is definitely the drug dealer.
right.
Well, fuck.
I think Paul was meant to be played straight, and by straight I mean heterosexual. That was supposed to be his vice, kind of a womanizer. But
Whoops.
whoops, we gayed him. We made him gay.
Well, he can still be
everything we
he can
touch
still be a
becomes
player.
gay.
Yeah, he could still be kind of a douche, but yeah.
So go talk? Question mark.
Yeah, she slides the information over to you. It's got her name, her address, and a couple basic biographical facts that she pulled up. So, her house is the you don't even recognize the address. One of you is going to have to struggle with a GPS.
Oh boy.
no.
Oh,
Map
God.
Quest.
We don't even have a GPS on our phones because they don't put.
No, even older school, an actual physical map.
Oh
Oh,
god.
I got this.
It's like it's 1912 or some shit like that.
So we're gonna go talk to this old lady. Oldish.
Oldish. You don't know specifically how old she is, but you know she remembers things clearly from 30 years ago, so she can't be that young.
Mm.
So you make your way out of the city. Martha Raditz, it turns out, lives in the far-flung boonies. It's about an hour's drive out of the city. It gets colder and darker and quieter until all you can hear is the thrumming of the bush crickets, the vague hooting of owls. She owns it looks like a little one-story ranch house out in the middle of absolutely nothing. The only thing that marks it different from the rest of the dark scene is the fact that all the windows are lit bright golden. Do you want to do anything special, or do you just park in the driveway?
Let's not park. Let's not park in the driveway. No.
No, let's not do that.
Okay, you want to park on the street?
Let's do that. Park like a ways
It's
away.
nighttime. Can we see it? Are there any lights on?
There are no streetlights or anything, but the house lights are on, like I mentioned.
Okay.
It's a long drive. It's like it's like the boonies. Like it's this really really long gravel driveway, and the streets aren't in great shape, but you can park on them. That's fine.
Yeah, we should definitely park out of sight.
Is it so? Yeah, I would say. So here's what I'm trying to get at. Is it so remote that she's gonna know anybody's coming up at all, or can we unobtrusively park the car away and walk up?
It's difficult to say. It really depends on how perceptive she is. Okay. It is very very quiet out here, and it's not impossible that she could, if she was really really listening and really paying attention, she could hear a twig snap 50 feet away. But
okay,
yeah, it depends.
She knows we're coming. She left that message on purpose.
Yeah, well,
that stands to reason.
So yeah. We might be walking into a trap. We're probably walking into a trap.
Probably.
So what do you want to do?
So we should not do that.
Well, we should just leave. Car. Let's just leave, Charles says. Let's just, who wants some ice cream?
No, we can't.
None of us can eat. Yeah, we can't eat. That's true. Can we make blood into ice cream?
That's
literally
a conversation for another time.
Pretty sure yes, but okay. Okay, so let's park way off the street, and I think we're just before we go in, I turn to the rest of them. Okay, so we need a game plan here. She knows we're coming. This is probably a trap.
Oh yeah, definitely. Writing those words was a blatant invitation.
Charles reminds you, we are 4 vampires going up against 1 mortal.
Mm.
I mean it's stacked pretty heavily in our favor if we have to throw down.
And while I appreciate that, I also don't. That feels like the thing that happens. People say before they die horribly in horrible deaths.
Charles actually that's true. Yeah. That's like the last thing people say before they get absolutely murdered. But
so she knows that she may not know we're vampires. She was mimicking the deaths of the family. So the drained blood, that's what we did. So she may not know for sure. She just knows that she's just trying to draw out the serial killers. But she probably suspects something, right?
I mean, who else drains victims? Paul? Just a question.
But, if you were a human and you didn't believe in vampires, for example, and you found a bunch of drained bodies, would you immediately be like, this is proof of vampires? That's it. Case closed. Vampires are real.
Or would you think it's like Jack the Ripper? Yeah.
Charles says, you know who I bet we could ask about that? And he gestures to the house.
Right, exactly. Let's go.
Oh, God. Well, y'all can go first.
Charles is like, fine, coward.
Ladies first. You know what they say.
Gotta leave room for the uterus to run amok.
Right. Yeah, let me just separate my uterus from my body, BRB.
Oh, God, if only, am I right?
That would be so
nice.
I know,
God. Right about now. Can we actually just arrange that? That'd be so good.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I guess Charles will take the lead, unless someone else really wants to. Charles is he's like the tank of the group, I've realized in the ensuing weeks. He's got 6 health and a lot of strength.
Wow.
He's pretty beefy, yeah. So Charles will take the lead. He'll go up to the door and he looks back at you like, do we knock? I guess we can knock. Charles will knock on the door awkwardly. And as not long after he knocks, you hear, come in. And Charles looks anxiously back at the rest of you and he says, should we just...
Yeah, there's...
Okay. He turns the door handle and pushes it open. This place looks like your grandma's house. It's got a lot of, lace everywhere. There's a lot of little kitten statuettes and porcelain on the shelves.
Hey!
Frilly curtains on the windows. And sitting in a very well-carved but aging wooden rocking chair is the woman you can only assume is Martha Raditz. Her hair is a little bit gray, but more than that, she is hooked up to an oxygen tank. And she is staring directly at the door with her hands folded in her lap, and she's slowly rocking back and forth as you enter, and she says, "Well, it is good to finally meet you."
Someone close the door, please. It's a little bit chilly.
Charles closes the door.
Paul is looking incredulously at this frail-looking old woman. Like, how? How did
this woman kill 4 people?
She says, "Oh, very carefully with a lot of planning. It wasn't easy, I'll admit. It took some doing, it took some blows to the back of the head. Well-timed surprises, but in the end I was able to make it work. Are you going to tell me your names?"
Oh, absolutely not.
Says,
Depends on whether you tell us, like, what was your... Did you just choose 4 random people? Just because?
She says, "I chose 4 random people because you chose 4 random people, and one of them happened to be my sister."
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
You know her name was Eleanor?
I did not know that. Did any of you know that? Or remember that? Or anything from that time?
No.
She wasn't in the best line of work, I admit. She was in the seedier business, but she was trying to save up to go to college, and I was so proud of her for all the hard work she'd done. It was very difficult to learn that one day you have a sister, and then one day you don't have a sister anymore. And putting all the pieces together of what happened to her was difficult. It all seemed so clean, you know? Like, it was this serial killer, but they only killed 4 people, and they never killed before, and they never killed again. And everything just seemed so clean. The police officers didn't want to investigate any of the leads that I brought to them. Everything was wrapped up very quickly, too quickly, and trying to get to the bottom of it brought me down quite a rabbit hole. She says, "Are you sure you don't want to tell me your names? I guarantee you they're safe with me. I'm going to die in 6 months if you don't kill me."
We'd prefer not to kill you. In fact.
Really? Well, that's an uncharacteristic mercy. It would have been nice if you'd shown that mercy to Eleanor.
We didn't want to kill her either.
I didn't want to kill those 4 people, but I had to do it to bring you here.
You had... Why?
Because otherwise I never would have been able to look into the eyes of the people that murdered my sister.
Is that it? That was the point of this?
I'm old. I'm dying.
I can see that.
All I have left is revenge. You know, for someone who masterminded such an excellent serial killer cover-up, you're all a bunch of idiots, huh? She says, "So what are you going to do with me? I'm curious. What's your game plan now? I'm no danger to anyone anymore. I've got 6 months to live at best, and I couldn't kill again if I wanted to."
Yeah, it's like Eileen kind of like looks at everyone like,
We're turning this psychopath over.
To who?
To Marcus.
No.
Why?
We don't know what he'll do with her.
I know exactly what he'll do with her.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know one of the things.
Yeah, right. That's one possible thing that he could do.
I don't understand the resistance to this idea. This crazy woman who has suffered a severe trauma, admittedly, but, like, did not have to become a serial killer as a result of it. What do you want her to do? You want to put her in a nice retirement home?
I mean, no, but...
Well, I'm waiting for better ideas here.
Well, I mean, we can't turn her over to the cops, because potentially they could, actually believe her.
She
like
says,
this.
"I wouldn't waste my time trying to get these worthless police officers to do anything."
Exactly.
Okay, what evidence do we have that she's the killer? If we try to turn her over to the cops, she's not going to get arrested.
Charles says, "That's a good point. We don't have any evidence against... The only thing we know that links her to the crime is the fact that we killed 4 people in 1982.
So, again, this woman is. You can sit there and say she's not dangerous, fine, but I don't think that's true. I think that's a risk. And the idea that we're just gonna walk away from here, let her there's gonna be no repercussions. What is the plan?
Well, no, I mean, Lana was trying to say maybe we could have somebody
we can't turn over to the police.
Somebody vampiric stake her out for a while, and just wait.
Also, we run the risk. The problem is this here, is that if we agreed, kind of, already to Marcus and his deal, and if we don't do that, he could get mad, and it could start a war.
You would know based on you've been a vampire for 30 years now. You're very familiar with inter-prince dynamics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He would definitely be mad. Whether or not he would have the power to seek vengeance on you, it's kind of dubious. You're under Sam's protection.
Mm-hmm.
So if he did anything to you, he would have to go through Sam, and Sam's a prince too.
Right.
You are he might try something, that's true. You can't guarantee that he wouldn't be angry enough to try to seek some sort of retribution. But
so instead of getting a favor, we may make an enemy.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
He would definitely no longer be your friend. That's true.
I'm just saying, I don't want a prince as an enemy, but I also really don't like the idea of killing a woman who's already dying. I see Eileen is gonna look at Paul and be like, don't you remember how it felt the first time you got hungry? We got hungry.
It was horrific. But that was many years ago.
Now we have the option to choose not to do that. Before we didn't. We had no idea what we were doing.
Charles says, we're sitting here trying to decide the fate of this woman, trying to weigh her crimes against her trauma. Who the fuck are we to decide any of this? What are we? Are we judges? We're not a judge of anything.
Right, exactly. I hate agreeing with you, and I hate listening to you talk, Charles, but you're correct.
Thanks.
Okay, fine. Let Sam decide if that's what we want to do with this. Right? Who's the powers that be? That's Sam.
All right. Do you want to? Well, actually, you're very far outside Sam's jurisdiction. There's no. This would be the equivalent of an unincorporated area. There's no prince this far out in the boonies. Vampires don't bother unless.
So if there's no powers that be, then we are the powers that be. You see where I'm coming with this?
But you could ask Sam too. She would have an opinion, but you don't have to ask her. Technically, this is not her neighborhood.
Okay,
so
yeah, it's not her domain. So
she
even
has
though
no
the murders
strict authority.
Okay.
Again, do we just... I want the alternative. You tell me the alternative.
We let her live 6 months and then she dies anyway. We only killed 4 people. 4 for 4. It's done.
That evens the score in your mind, does it?
What else would you do to get vengeance on us?
She says, I am out of time. It doesn't matter what my vengeance might entail past this. I've got 6 months to live and my health is failing. I did everything I could. And just seeing you suffer and trying to rationalize what you did, it's payment enough.
Yeah, Eileen's gonna look at Paul and be like, there we go.
You hear the sound of sirens in the distance.
What?
You see red and blue light coming through the window, and the sound of crunching gravel. The sirens do eventually turn off. It was one of those, they ran it once just to alert someone, and then they immediately turned off.
I'd say we gotta get out of here now.
Yeah.
You can tell that Martha is a little surprised, too.
Anybody? She's gonna, look around. Eileen's, getting ready to leave. Anybody want to stay?
Charles says, I guess.
I don't know.
Well, while you are dithering, you hear a car door slam and you hear, Kindred, are you inside? You hear someone coming up the gravel path, and you hear the door open behind you. It was unlocked because Martha specifically left it unlocked. And in walks Marcus Lecter. Flanked by 2, you can tell they are kindred, they are vampires, but they are dressed like EMTs. And he says, I just got news from Sam. She sent me along after you. So this is her.
Is there any way that Sam did that?
I mean, you did tell Sam about Marcus and what he wanted. And it would not be out of her purview to, like he's also a prince. They're on equal footing. She might reasonably tell him.
Well, I think we have Sam's opinion then, don't we? I turned to Marcus and I'm like, yes, we were just about to call you. And I look pointedly at Eileen.
Marcus says, excellent. And he comes forward toward Martha, who is just glaring vengefully up at him. Well, who is this? What are you doing to me? And he says, you must be Martha Raditz. Is that correct, ma'am? She doesn't answer, and he says, I have it on good authority, that is to say the authority of Sam Stokes, that you are the one who has killed those 4 people. Is that true? She continues to not answer, and he looks to the 4 of you for confirmation.
And Eileen is gonna like grit her teeth, like she doesn't want Marcus here at all, but she's that's what she said. Scary. 4 for 4.
Very, very good. I cannot thank you enough for your assistance in this matter, kindred, and rest assured that you certainly have my boon. He snaps, and the 2 vampires flank Martha on either side and grab her by both arms and drag her out. The oxygen canister collapses and falls over as they pull her out. He says, make sure she's tied down nice and tightly now. Just because she seems old and frail doesn't mean we should make the mistake of assuming it's true. And the vampires drag her out. Marcus Lecter hangs back and looks at all of you.
She's already dying.
Well, then we'll have to make quick work of her, won't we?
Yeah, what use could you have for someone who's already half dead?
We'll keep her alive as long as we can, extract all the blood that we can, see what we can do about making extra potent clots. All mortals will die eventually. What matters is what we do with the time that they have.
Isn't it what matters what they do with the time that they have?
He smiles and he bares his fangs and he says, well, in this particular case, I don't think it's up for her to decide. Messieurs Paul and Charles, Mesdames Eileen, Juana, it was, as ever, a pleasure to meet you, and should you ever need me, do not hesitate to call upon me. And he bows extravagantly, he kisses your hand, Juana, and then Eileen, because he is a southern gentleman. And unless one of you tries to stop him, he leaves.
Yeah, Eileen, retracts, and she's, really, looking back at everyone like, you're just gonna let this happen?
What am I supposed to do? Attack a prince?
I want to be clear about this, they don't even give stats for Marcus Lecter. He's a prince. If you try to fight him, you are going to die.
Yeah, of course. I know that.
Okay.
That's why she was asking for, opinions. But, if you guys are not going to help her, then she's not going to stay with you. She's just going to leave you.
I'm a little confused about what Eileen's thought process has been. Can you walk us through it a little bit?
No, she was waiting for help, but everybody said that they didn't want to risk it. So she's like, okay, I'll just go back to Sam's and wait for you there then. She's pissed off at everyone for not helping, so she's leaving.
Okay, so it sounded she wanted to do a crazy suicidal mission, but the fact that she didn't have backup is what forestalled her. Okay. Right. Let's cut back to Sam's place. You all arrive back. It's a little before dawn, and I imagine it's been the ride back felt longer than the ride there. You know, you've all got a lot on your minds. And when she sees you, she invites you inside her office, and she says, "How'd it go? Did Marcus arrive?"
So you did send him.
I did. I thought that's what you wanted.
Well, it's what some of us wanted, apparently.
Yeah, Eileen is not looking at you. She's examining her nails.
She says, "Is the problem taken care of?"
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It is taken care of.
She says, Good. You still seem... And she's looking between all of your faces, trying to get a measure of what you're thinking, you know.
It was a troubling reminder of our own humanity, and he looks pointedly at Eileen. For some more than others.
Some of us can still remember what it's like, and apparently not everyone else can.
Sam sort of raises her hand before this gets into a particularly nasty brawl, and she says, No, let's not go making enemies of friends. She says, it's really not the place of a vampire to make decisions on morality. You understand that, right?
I do.
We are creatures that, by necessity, must harm or even kill others to maintain ourselves as we are. We are in no position to be judge or jury. Executioner on occasion, she admits. She says, it's a hard lesson for vampires to accept sometimes, for the kindred to accept that they need to let go of their humanity. And she says, that's why I sent Eleanor into your hotel that night.
You what? I knew it.
Yeah, like Eileen bares her fangs like, you what?
It's a lesson that you had to learn, and apparently you still haven't learned it, she said.
I fucking knew it. This is Paul. This is also Amber, but I fucking knew it.
I was like, who's talking? Is it Paul or is it Amber? Because I think it's
both of us.
Amber possesses Paul to say this.
Yeah, right.
No, I knew it because you wanted us to owe you a favor.
Yeah.
She says, the boon was incidental, she insists. The real purpose of my sending Eleanor in there that night was to teach you a very important lesson. Vampires have no business dealing in morality. None. We take care of our own, we do what we need to do to survive, and that's where it ends.
I agree.
I don't agree.
Yeah, Eileen is just like, she doesn't say anything.
We can choose to control it.
For a time, she says, perhaps. Tell me, have you ever met one of the Methuselahs? One of the elders of the Camarilla? Do you know what you become if you have enough time?
The Camarilla, no.
That actually tracks because there's a small community of vampires in this particular neighborhood, but the oldest one is like maybe 60, and that's counting all the years, not just the mortal years. Mm-hmm. She says, if you stay a vampire long enough, just maintaining your lifespan, it changes you in a fundamental way. The antediluvians, the Methuselahs, the elder vampires, and the Camarilla, they have lost all sense of humanity, and that's going to be your fate too if you live long enough. It is a fact of our nature that we lose ourselves the older we get, and the earlier you can accept that, the better.
Why? So you spend more years depraved?
She bares her fangs, and she says, I understand that you didn't have a choice in the gift, Juana. But isn't it better to keep living? Isn't that a fundamental drive of all creatures? To keep living?
I was like, Eileen just like puts a hand on Juana and just like shakes her head like it's not worth it.
She says, for what it's worth, you have done very good work, and I am releasing you from your boon.
That gets some attention.
She says,
Paul looks up surprised.
Yeah.
She says, you're free to do whatever you want, of course. As long as you are my trusted friends, you are welcome in my neighborhood and in my house. And she says, but I don't want you to forget the lessons I've been trying to teach you here. And if you do, you won't be so welcome next time you come here.
We'll keep that in mind.
You're all, let's say you're sitting in, it's a suite, let's say, and you are all sitting around the table in this suite. Probably not eating or drinking, just sort of sitting in silence.
So to be clear, we're free of Sam's boon, but there is a boon owed to us, correct?
Yes. Marcus Lecter now officially owes all of you a boon,
okay.
Which is not nothing, that's
right, exactly.
That's big. You could,
right.
Theoretically, you could live with him now. You could live in his house, and he would not be able to say no to you.
Right, okay. So, just trying to get this all straightened out. Got it.
That occurs to Charles. He's like, we could just go to Lecter's district now, couldn't we? And just, live in his house, and he couldn't tell us no.
That's true, Charles, we could, but would you want to go?
Charles doesn't answer. He's genuinely not sure.
And then she, looks at everyone else like, what about you guys?
I've never been just on my own since this nightmare. I don't really want to be around someone like Lecter.
Charles says, are we fundamentally just evil? Our nature is vampires? Is there nothing we can do? Our mere existence requires literally the lifeblood of others around us? Is that just a fact of our nature?
Seems like that's what Sam was going for, that we can't escape the fact that we must, in order to exist, we must take life.
And I mean, I guess technically she's not wrong, but...
She's not. I disagree with her idea that, like, it's a good thing to lose ourselves. I don't want to aspire to that. I don't want to become a Methuselah if that's what happens.
Charles says, well, maybe that's the lesson that we should take away, that we are, by our very nature, on an inevitable slide to less and less humanity, but what's important is that we keep fighting against it for as long as we can. Like, as he's saying this, like, you can tell the wheels are spinning in his head, like he's coming up with this at the same time as he's saying it to you. Is that the lesson? Charles, like, definitely does not seem sure. Like, he's looking around at the three of you.
I don't think there's no actual lesson. Life isn't about people teaching you lessons. Life is what you make of it. You've got to pick your own path, man.
I hate that I agree with that so much, but God, I agree with it.
Charles thinks about it for a minute. He's like, well, does anyone else want to go get fucking trashed at a nightclub?
Yes.
That sounds amazing.
Like a great idea.
Let's get the fuck out of here. And he, like, immediately stands up and just leaves.
I could use some inspiration.
You have to pick your own path. Does anyone else want to get fucking blasted at a nightclub?
Yes. That's my path and I'm choosing it.
Yep. Excellent path. Good choices.
# squad goals. Happy Halloween, friends! From all of us here at Crit Fail Club, we sincerely hope you enjoyed our first foray into Vampire the Masquerade. Like I mentioned last episode, the next arc after Fracture ends will be in this universe with this game system, and for those of you who aren't on our Discord server and didn't get the news, the official name of the next campaign will be Legacy. We're all very, very excited for it already, and hopefully after this little taste of the system, you are too! Check us out on the internet at critfailclub.com, search Crit Fail Club on all the usual social media websites, join our Discord server at bit.ly/cfcdiscord, and we will return you to our regularly scheduled Dungeons & Dragons on November 1st. See you then, and have a spooky Halloween.